Welcome to Air Cargo Chronicles, a long-term storytelling project built around a simple idea. The modern world runs on air cargo, but most people have no idea who actually made it happen. Over multiple years, we're going to trace air cargo back to its earliest foundations, when cargo and mail didn't just support aviation, they practically financed it. In those early days, governments helped keep aircraft in the sky with per-mile subsidies. But eventually, those subsidies faded, and the expectation shifted. Airlines were told, in effect, if you want to survive, you can't just carry mail and freight. You need to carry people, too. And yet, while passenger aviation became the headline, the cargo story never stopped. It kept evolving, pushed forward by people who saw potential where others saw a side business. That's what this series is really about. Yes, we'll cover the companies that shaped the industry. You'll hear about names like Emery Air Freight, which helped define what freight forwarding could be. You'll hear about United Airlines and the early flights that proved what was possible. And we'll also talk about innovators like Pay Cargo, which created better ways to pay and support the movement of freight. But the heart of Air Cargo Chronicles isn't corporate history. It's human history. We're focusing on the individuals who carried the industry forward when the odds looked absurd. People like John Emery Sr. and Jr., Jan Krems, Eduardo del Riego, and scores of others whose work rarely makes it into the mainstream story of aviation. We will share what they were up against, what they tried, what failed, what finally worked, and how their decisions rippled outward to impact the entire world. A major part of our foundation comes from the working library of Richard Malkin, who was with us from 2010 to 2015. Dick, who covered the Berlin Airlift in 1948, and then became the founding air cargo journalist at Cargo Airlift magazine, created for us at 100 years of age a living map of air cargo history. The people, the events, the places, the breakthroughs, and the setbacks. We've taken that material and reshaped it into a narrative spanning the entire pre-jet era, beginning after the Berlin Airlift and running through the 2000s. The Berlin Airlift, of course, is a pivotal moment. In 1948, the world watched aircraft prove they could sustain a city. But here's the twist. After that historic achievement, commercial air cargo still had to fight to become a real industry. It couldn't live forever on the glow of wartime heroics and flying war surplus aircraft. It had to win business, earn trust, and make economic sense day after day. Dick captured set times with striking clarity. Imagine the world at the start of the 1950s. One decade is ending with Berlin still fresh in everyone's memory, and another major airlift is already tied to Korea. Big headlines everywhere. And inside that noise, a quieter battle is happening. Air freight is trying to become more than a last-minute solution. The numbers alone show how daunting it was. In early 1950, air cargo in USA totaled something like 160 million ton-miles. Railroads, by comparison, moved around 600 billion ton-miles. Let that sink in. It wasn't a gap, it was a canyon. If you were trying to build air cargo as a commercial force, you were staring at an industry that completely owned the hearts, minds, and budgets of shippers. So why did anyone think air cargo could win? Or even compete? Because a small group of people believed the value wasn't in matching railroads in volume. It was in redefining what shipping could be. Speed, reliability, high value, time-sensitive movement. The kind of service that becomes essential once the world starts operating on tighter clocks. The remarkable part is that those early pioneers couldn't possibly have seen where this would lead. A worldwide, just-in-time, high-value shipping machine that now supports global trade and daily life. They didn't have the full blueprint. What they did have was courage, persistence, and the willingness to learn fast and adapt faster. Air Cargo Chronicles will keep returning to those fundamentals. The who, what, where, when, and why. The trial and error. The setbacks that could have ended careers. The moments when someone tried something new in a small office, and that idea eventually became standard practice across the world. We'll share with the world the environment these cargo teams came from, too. The early culture of cargo inside airlines often looked like an afterthought. Picture small second-floor offices tucked into a hangar, with a window looking down on the cargo floor. A place where early cargo management looked up from reams of paperwork to watch the freight move in and out of the building and made sure it kept moving. Picture an era where in some companies, you'd hire 10 people, place the top 7 on the passenger side, and send the rest into cargo operations. And yet we will discover and document, from those overlooked corners of aviation, real brilliance emerged. That's the story we want to preserve so it doesn't disappear. Not just for insiders, but for the broader world that benefits from air cargo every day without realizing it. Our goal is to build a historical reference that's easy to explore, searchable, and organized, hosted through www.aircargonews.com, so the names, events, and lessons are collated and indexed for future generations. Air Cargo Chronicles is, at its core, a promise to tell the human story of air cargo from its humble beginnings to the present day, and right up to the last words we write as we look ahead to the future.